Well, it's a gloomy Sunday here in Ohio. Took Ollie over for baseball practice, and I thought I would take the time to go over a number of things. Kind of a gloomy week, top to bottom. We didn't have any standouts on the track. Pickpocket had made a break on Thursday. Now, we had some high points. There were horses that raced good. We're a big machine. There's going to be horses that race good every week, and the more horses that race good, the happier everybody is. Just one of those in-between weeks, right? A little bit of a letdown, to be truthful. And that's solely on perspective also. I mean, I was happy that All Gas No Brakes broke through in Ontario and did well. A horse that we'd acquired not that long ago. He did well. It was neat to watch Unbeatable Kemp race again as he rejoined the stable. I thought he raced adequately. Patrick DePerona raced very, very well in Pennsylvania, so it certainly wasn't a loss. I wasn't upset about the week. It's just one of those weeks that you travel through, and maybe it's because I'm preoccupied a little bit. Obviously, this is a time of year where I start looking at Harrisburg, right? And Harrisburg is always that kind of shopping cart sale for us, and take nothing away from it. We get a lot of great horses there. We got Memory and Imagination comes to mind right off the bat. From there, a number of really, really nice horses come out of Harrisburg. It's a tremendous sale, totally different sale than Lexington. I just had this conversation with Greg about just briefly about how I love Harrisburg and I love Lexington, but they're two totally different scenes. Lexington starts off virtually Ohio, and then Lexington start off the sale season, but Lexington is this totally different place than anywhere else. It's like, I told you guys in a video when I was in Lexington this summer, and we spent a little more time in Lexington, had a lot of luck in Lexington this year. A lot of luck in Lexington this year at the races, or I should say Kentucky at the races. And, it's horse country. When you drive around Kentucky, you quickly understand what horse racing is all about, and and horse raising is all about. It's just a tremendous place, and it's different, right? I get caught up in this this rat race where you're always running around here and there, and I tell you guys all the time, sometimes I miss things, right? That first win with Pickpocket in the Bluegrass, it kind of sloughed it off, like, yeah, he won, all right, let's go get something to eat and talk about tomorrow, because I'm always looking forward, right? You got to see what's going on now, and that can be good or bad, but you have to push past that and understand there's work to be done. There's always work to be done. And when I'd won that second race with Pickpocket, I knew going in he had a shot to win, but I made a mental note that, if you do happen to win, soak it up, right? Understand that, yes, tomorrow is coming, right? Next week is coming, and you need to be planning for 2024, the end of 2023, looking at where you have to be, what's best for the stable. Take a minute, right? And we went through that last year with Sintra, and it was forced upon me in PEI because it was just so overwhelming. But I wanted to make sure I took it all in Kentucky. Now, a little side note: we had worked it out, so there will be some sort of a ceremony for Sintra retiring, as there should be. Sintra was a great horse. There should be a ceremony for Sintra retiring, and it probably should be in the Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame. His horse said 1-47. Polarized, and we forget about this because it was so long ago, but did so well in Canadian racing, put together an ungodly amount of money, like $1.7 or $6 million, took a mark of 47, was one of the best horses on the planet for a year or two, and then was perceived to be on the decline of his career, and we bought him, and just exploded forward, won the Open, I believe, won the Gold Cup, won a number of races. He won once or twice in 49, definitely won 2 Opens at the Meadows, and just went on tour and had a great time. It was like his going away party. And then 2023 was not the same Sintra. And then later on in the season, obviously, we made the decision to retire him. I thought it was an easy decision. It's a horse that we all want to go out on our terms, but it rarely happens, and certainly not in this industry, both for humans and horses. So for me, just to take a deep breath and say, that's enough. He doesn't owe us a nickel. He's done nothing but given us great memories, and that's just in the twilight of his career. Imagine owning that horse when he was 3-2-7 instead of 7-9. It must have been an incredible roller coaster for the Mainieri family, and I know it bothered Dave when he sold the horse, so it was an obvious thing to say, hey, would you like him back? And there'll be a ceremony for that. And in regards to Brave World, we've now fattened him up. That left ankle, it's hurting him, and much like the left hind of Sintra, it's hurting him. And I would say that the exact same thing going on there. So we're going to be on the lookout for a good home for Brave World. No shortage of people that wanted Brave World when we announced that we had got him back. So if you're out there and you're one of those people that would like a pasture horse, a classy horse like Brave World, we are looking to find him a home now. He's put a lot of weight on. He's fat, and he's shiny, and he's happy, but he's not going to make a racehorse. So we will be retiring Brave World also. I think we'll there's no short. We could have a ceremony and have about 20 trainers out there, because he's gone through a lot of burns and meant a lot to a lot of people. So Brave World will be a little more off the cuff, kind of quiet ceremony. We will announce his retirement maybe in a week or two, and a different kind of retirement, right? But at the same time, been a classy horse. We won the Open with him also at one point. I think Louis Philippe Bois did. So two classy horses that have been retired. We can't always, as I say to people, we can't always police the industry and do the best, make sure that everybody does the best, but we can do the best we can. I'm not always going to be right. Mistakes are going to be made, but when it comes to two classy horses like this, two very different situations. You guys know how we ended up with Brave World back, and that was not the same situation as Sintra or buying Kemp back or any of those. Brave World was in a tough spot. We bought him back, nursed him back. He looks great now. He's shiny. He's feeling good, but his left ankle bothers him, so we're going to retire him. And then with Sintra, that was obvious, left hind ankle with him. So we try to do the best we can, and I think in these two cases especially, we get an A+, an A+ for two classy horses for sure. So as I was saying, I just proud of the summer we've had. I'm always talking about how great it's been. It's never perfect, right? Every so often I'll have one of our clients that owns one of the horses that didn't do good say, I know you say it's been great, but I'm looking forward to 2024 because I did not have a great 2023. And that's not in reference to the stable, I don't think. Just in reference to the luck. I know Steven said partway through the summer, the 2-year-olds that he had chose were not, they didn't turn out to be the best 2-year-olds that we had by any stretch of the imagination. So it's always, in mine too, and other people's. I mean, sure, I would love to own Tactical Mounds, and I would love to own Pickpocket, Memory and Imagination, and Arson. It doesn't always work that way. So all we can do is continue to come up to the plate, and try to make the right decisions at the sale, put the hard work into the horses when they train down, and hope that they turn out. They're not all going to turn out, but geez, we've had a pretty good run this year, I think, in regards to horses that have done well on the track, whether it be Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, New Jersey, Kentucky, even Ontario. We had our moments in Ontario. I would like to strengthen our core in Ontario, but it's tough, right? Now, as a number of people pointed out, Patricia First, the sale in Ontario was not as hot and strong as I thought it might be. Having said that, the top-end horses were still top prices. But I thought that the Trixton Colt that we picked up was a very affordable purchase. And the Shadow Play filly, when I looked through the sale catalog, she was one of the first numbers that I wrote down. I just started looking at her siblings, and it was funny because Louis Philippe Bois comes up to me and he said, "You bought that filly, I think she's a Quebec eligible also." I said, "Yeah, the Cleveland Masha." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I liked her." He said, "I know all the siblings in that family. They were all kind of little ratty looking. She looked very good." He said, "I really liked her." And Louis a little busy this year also. I see he purchased like 5 horses out of London. So I think Louis may also be drifting into having a bigger yearling stable. That's always nice to see. I like to see people branching out, and it's difficult, and I know Louis learned that last year a little bit with his horses, but obviously he's formulated a plan. It's tough. It's tough to be a trainer, right? Put on that training suit every day, go out and train the horses, have your mind geared towards keeping those horses on the straight and narrow, maybe fixing some issues, working on some weaknesses with the horses, then taking that off. And again, Louis a world-class driver. He's got like 3-4 drives in the Breeders' Crown. So it must be even harder for him to be able to shut that side of your brain off and go to work as a driver, right? It's not an easy thing to do. Not to mention the constant wear and tear physically and mentally on yourself. It's not easy. So I wish him all the luck, and obviously a great guy, and a really, really smart horse person. I don't think he gets enough credit for that, but he will in the future, that's for sure. So whether it be, James, who worked his butt off all along with us, had his own stable for a while, or Louis, or any of these guys, it's nice to see them be able to play that dual role, because it is not an easy role to play. So I do wish him all the luck. Now, I did want to highlight some of the horses that we have, I guess, maybe even highlight the ones we have shares in, I guess I'll start with a few of the horses, just briefly, that have shares left, and just give you my take on them. Obviously, I'm very surprised, to be honest, that International Money has done so much good for us. Now, here's the take on International Money. Now, bear with me for a minute. International Money's first year was incredible for him. Didn't get the greatest mares, but did very, very well on the track. We have done nothing but good with our International Monies, I believe, top to bottom, if I'm not mistaken. And but you have to understand the mares that he got, right? Open the sale catalog and look at Father Patrick and even Green Shoe still, and that will continue. Obviously the perennial leaders like Muscle Hill, Walner. I could go on and on and on and on about all the sires, and way down that list is International Money. Now, when you look at the mares that he had got, they just weren't the top mares, right? There was gaps in the pedigrees, so they just weren't strong pedigrees. He has not gotten, and I think this will change next year, because after that first year, I think there was a bit of a wake-up call to the breeders out there that this horse got some pop. He throws some really gritty, tough horses. They trot, right? They do their work. They show up every day. And I think that you'll see that cycle take place next year, right? First year, then they bred the mares next year. It'll be the next year, I believe, when you're going to see some stronger pedigrees for International Money. That's my take. This year, still a little bit weaker. So I wanted to take a look at every International Money I saw and look at them, because I thought there would be value, and there was some value. Now, the two highest horses with highest shares available are International Monies, which I'm a little surprised at. We have Manhattan Money, who is very well bred, and even Never Lose Felix, who is very well bred. These horses are both going, look very, very good on the track, and I'm a little surprised that our clients have not, that you guys have left 90 and 72 shares on the table with these guys. But they're the types of horses that, as they start to train down, people will scoop those shares up. I get it. I just had this conversation yesterday. As you can see, there's a lot of shares on the board. But that's a good thing also, right? Our job is to obviously provide as much entertainment and as much value for our clients as we can in horse racing. But our first order of business is to bring new people into the industry, and we can't do that if those shares aren't there. So I'm always trying to juggle that. I was trying to walk that thin line between what I can afford, because I'm carrying the water here, what I can afford, what is available to me, and how do we make as many shares available for new clients that might be coming in, and not go broke. Is the best way to put it. So maximizing our sales board also is important for the stable. So I'm in the midst of doing that. It's been a pretty good year. I'm okay with it, with what's out there right now, and the tools that are available to me to make that happen. So Manhattan Money, Never Lose Felix are two horses that, quite frankly, I think you'll see those shares disappear as we go along. But a little surprised that they're the two horses with the highest amount of shares left. I am a little surprised. Now, Illinois every year is 65 and 63. Here's the thing. If you're out there, it's hard for us to stay involved in a jurisdiction where shares aren't being bought, right? You see that with New York. Every year we buy 2 or 3. I think we only have 1 this year so far, if I'm not mistaken. Just because they don't sell out a lot. Now people are starting to see that actually the New York program isn't that bad, right? There's even less horses bred into that program this year. The trotting fillies and trotting colts are way down. as far as horses eligible, yearlings eligible to that program. It's not a horrible program, it's just scattered everywhere, right? And then when you factor in trying to get new people involved with licensing, it is problematic for you or me or people that may out there already have a license in New York. It's not really the end of the world, but just that initial ask, that initial hurdle to get people in is a problem. Now with Illinois, it isn't the licensing that's an issue, it's the overall stake program. It's like Michigan, very jurisdictional right now still, until they start to get some more money out there and get a more streamlined schedule put together. Like Alibaba wasn't a great horse this year, and that was disappointing in its own right, but never really got to race until September, right? So in my mind, this is like, wow, we're going to be finishing off our stake season, and now the stake season is going to start up in Illinois, but it's really scattered, right? And it's hard to nail it down. It's hard to sink our teeth into it. So it's tough to get involved, and it's tough to stay involved. But we did get some new horses this year. We got a Lose Legacy and a Lindy's True Grit. I thought both of these horses. Now the Lindy's True Grit obviously is the brother to Alibaba, and Alibaba I thought was good. The depth may have been lacking with that filly, and from talking to Jim and watching the entire landscape of Illinois, it appeared to me that it may actually be that class included that may be the problem. I didn't see a ton of really, really good ones out there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll come forward this year, but I know Lose Legacy has been the leader out there, and to pick up the Lose Legacy colt was good. And then to get the brother to Alibaba. Now, Lindy's True Grit, I actually know this horse. This is a horse that Ben Wallace raced. I raced against this horse a little bit. Well-bred, good-looking horse, and might make a splash in Illinois. You never really know, right? Everybody raved about Green Shoe and bred all their mares to Green Shoe, and then the first year they were a little difficult, right? We bought one, and I have a couple more circled that I'm looking at, but he really falls into that folder where don't judge a horse on their first crop, because it wasn't the greatest first crop, and we'll stick to that. So we'll see with Lindy's True Grit how he gets along and Lose Legacy. I would like to see these shares disappear. It's a little harder, right? You know, you have 65 and 63 shares available in an entire jurisdiction where we only have maybe 12 to 15 clients. So if you're out there and you want to become involved in Illinois, right? And I do like Illinois. I'm going to make an effort next year, circle the Illinois State Fair on my calendar. I didn't get out there this year, but I had a lot of fun the year before, both driving and racing out in the Illinois State Fair, and it was a lot of fun. So that's something I want to circle this year. I think, as a group, we should all be interested not just in watching our horses race and being immersed in the horses going around the track, but being immersed in what that represents, right? Delaware County Fair, Lexington Grand Circuit Week, even some races at Mohawk, Hambo Day at the Meadowlands, and even some of the smaller things that have turned small but are still very big, in the Illinois State Fair being one of those. A really, really cool place, and I had a great time when I was there. So we have the two Illinois breds with lots of shares left. Now the next guy for sure, you're going to see his shares come down, Century Legion. This is a giant brother to Century Invader, but a giant Trixton colt, and he looked very, very nice at the sale. Danny's only knock on him was, is he too big? Well, Spirited Dio was a giant filly. She raced at 2, won her first lifetime start at the Meadowlands in a stake race. This colt here, 4 for 4. I think all 4 of them raced. I was about to say at 2, but I don't know that for sure. But all 4 of his siblings raced. A strong family, and I thought this horse was a really, really nice horse. The next horse, and now, again, Rose Run AJ, as we start to train this horse down, people will start to take a look at this guy. He is a gorgeous colt. We just had him castrated. He was a Ridgeling. So when you factor in the Ridgeling and the Dancing Yankee, we actually got a pretty good deal on this guy, I believe. I like the Dancing Yankees. The 2 that we had last year were fine. Born to Dance, got a lot of growing up to do mentally, but understood his work on the track. Little problematic sometimes, could get you in trouble, but at the same token, when push came to shove, he usually showed up for work. And I'm Fancy Like was a really, really nice filly also. Both those horses were Dancing Yankees, so we ended up with 2. We had Dancing on My Socks, so I thought that was a private purchase after the sale that I thought would do us some good next year, and also Rose Run AJ, who I really, really liked. This horse was quietly a horse I was going to watch no matter what go through the ring, and we got him for a pretty decent price considering his pedigree also. Now, we had another, we had a first crop sire, another pacing filly for Ohio, so now we have 2 pacing colts and a pacing filly for Ohio, and that was Fire and Shine. I loved everything about this filly. Loved her video. I loved her in person. I like her on the track. She looks really, really, really nice. I couldn't say enough about her. Again, 59 shares left. You're going to see those as you guys start to watch these horses under video. They're going to come back down for sure. I'm not worried about that. And then we have our Michigan boy, Mountaineer Prince. We had the other horse, the Wally horse, sell out quickly. I understood why. It was simply pricing. This guy here is going to force you to take a look at him. We had a great year in Michigan last year with Sunset Acres Girl. I think all of her starts were in the top 3. I'm not sure. I think she made maybe $50,000 or $60,000, but we had a really good year and a lot of fun with her in Michigan, and looking to not really grow our footprint, but keep our foot in the door in Michigan. Eventually, for those of you that have been in the game a long time, you remember how strong Illinois was, right? Balmoral Park and Maywood, how strong, and all the tremendous horsemen that came out of that jurisdiction. So many of them, the Tetrics come out of that jurisdiction, Irv Miller, Andy Miller, all those big names came from Illinois, and I think you're probably going to see slowly that jurisdiction build up again. Now, I don't know if it'll ever become what it was before, but Hawthorne has the ability to build up its place. It's actually a decent track. I've raced there a few times. I would like to see that jurisdiction come back, but it's going to take some significant help. And again, you can't do it without some help on the political landscape also, and I don't know where that sits in Illinois. I know with the former governor being arrested when they had all the river boats and stuff and all the money flowing in, I saw the same thing happen in Canada with Quebec. So you can see it build up, but it'll take time, and it's nice to keep our foot in the door. And in regards to Quebec, with the one pacing filly, we do have a Quebec bred also. And then same thing goes for Michigan. When I was younger, Michigan was a powerhouse, right? You had Hazel Park, you had Northville, but again, so many good horses and so many good horsemen came out of Michigan. It's nice to see, it was sad to see them falter, but it's nice to see them hanging on and starting to grow a little bit. It would be nice to see them get that track finalized in Michigan and get things moving on that front. But always good to keep our foot in the door. My standpoint, I want to make sure, people ask me all the time, why do you want to own horses in Michigan and Illinois? And, we bid on a horse in Minnesota, Delaware, because we have clients everywhere, and I want to make sure that, one, people can come out and watch their horses race if they'd like to, in person. That would be nice. And two, it's nice to support the program. We are a stable that races every single place, everywhere. And I want to be able to support all the programs if we can. And that's exactly why we bought the horses in those places. We got some more Ohio breds here. He's a great guy. Again, you guys are going to see this guy trotting on the track, and when we start videoing them, and I suspect his shares will dissipate quickly. Foxy Seaside was one of my top picks of that day, and in the sale, I just didn't think we'd be able to get her. She's a beautiful filly. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with Foxy Seaside. This is the first foal from a mare that went in 51 and made $250,000, and winning 51 as a 2-year-old. And that's always important. It's always a light that goes off. That big mark or lots of money made at 2. It's always a key indicator. Hey, you'd like to look at it and say, hey, the mother or all the siblings raced at 2. There's a real good chance this horse will. So I'd like to take another look at this, and that's exactly what I did with Foxy. Gaslight Hall and Chicago Hall, I would bet these will be the first 2 to sell out on the Ontario side from this season of the ones that are left. Both these horses, I mean, you can't hide from their pedigree. And again, there's a lot of people that message me and say, how come they only went for 27 and 47? I know why, in my head, why they didn't, but I know, in past years, there may have been some protection going on with a number of these Hall horses, and I don't blame them. They're good horses and they know what they're worth. But that had caused, I know me, truthfully speaking, there'll be times where I look at horses coming from certain farms that I know maybe protect the horse up to. We're always looking for less than fair market value. When I'm looking to buy a horse, if I can buy a horse for 26, I know is worth 40 or more. I think that's huge savings, right? It's getting off on the right foot. Well, I don't blame those farms for also looking at that horse saying, I know that horse is worth 40, and I'm not going to give them to you for 26. I don't blame them for doing that. But I also make a mental note when that happens over and over and over and over and over again. You start to look at it, and the first thing you look at is, I like the horse, but I know I'm probably not going to get the horse for what I want from this farm, and you may move on. But by us marking and pricing those horses, we were able to pivot quickly and say, there doesn't seem to be the same safety net financially that there was in past years for these horses. The 27 for Gaslight Hall was low. There's no two ways about it. The 47 for Chicago Hall was low. In my mind, there's no two ways about it. I marked those horses way higher, and that was on fair market. That was on me saying, this is what I would have to get them for to buy them. That price was way higher than what we actually got the horses for. That happened a number of times this year. Now, was it because the sales were a little bit down? I have no idea. But I was very happy with what I saw from those two particular horses, and you are going to be also. Resolve Indeed, again, Ontario bred filly. This filly trots nice. She's got a little spunk to her. I like her. She's going to video nice also. One of the quietest purchases that I think is one of the best horses we got was Southwind Ibex. This is a horse I was just drawn to him. He was just another horse, only New Jersey eligible, and there's no Kentucky aspect or component there. So you knew there was going to be a little bit of value found in that horse. So I watched him in the back ring. What a beautiful horse he was. I watched his video over and over and over again. I went out and watched him 2 or 3 times in the ring, watched him come in the ring, watched him in the back ring. Just something about him. He's just one of those horses. If you've been to a sale or you're a horseman, if you line up 20 horses, there's going to be one that just, for whatever reason, just catches your eye. And that was Southwind Ibex. And he was in the back ring and walking around, and I look at Amy, I said, what a gorgeous horse that is. And she'd pointed out, it's no Kentucky eligible, and, what would he have to bring for us to buy him? And it was, we weren't really in the market at all for an $80,000 Muscle Hill. So I said, I don't know. If I could get him somewhere between 45 and 55, I think, man, I would love to buy this horse. And I think both of us agreed that was unlikely to happen. I almost got him for like 38, I think. And then one guy jumped in, another guy jumped in. But that sounds silly because you might say, well, Anthony, those people are going to jump in. Humans are weird, right? I can tell you about horses. But for whatever reason, somebody just did that. There's that switch that goes off as the hammer's getting close to being dropped. And I think they audit. They audit the entire sale quickly in their head, and they audit what they're looking at and say, should I buy that horse for that price, or should I wait for another one I'm looking for later on? And I think at that moment, those two people that began bidding had realized for 38, this horse was disgustingly underpriced. That's my take. Maybe I'm wrong. And they jumped in, and that ran me all the way to 53 or 54,000, I think. But this horse in particular, I just thought was an incredibly good-looking individual, well-bred, put together really nice, and I can't wait to get a lot of these horses under video for you guys to see, and this guy is one of them. The next one is the Quebec eligible filly. She's an Ontario bred by Shadow Play. Her name was Cleveland Masha. As I looked at this filly, I liked everything about her. There was nothing about her I didn't like. I loved her video. Danny loved the way she was put together. And then obviously after we already bought her, Louis Philippe had told me all about the family and all about he knew all the horses in the family, and this was by far the best looking sibling out of this mare, which only made me feel better because obviously he's got no dog in the fight, right? He's just really relaying his own personal information about this family, and which only made me feel better. But I had loved the video of her. I thought she would bring a little bit more. I mean, I think we got her for 25 or 27. I had her marked maybe at 29, 30, 31, something like that. It wasn't like a, oh my God, we stole this filly type situation, but I think a little bit below what I had earmarked as fair market, and really, really happy that we had picked her up. Westland Warrior, I think this is one that actually Steve had picked out. Love this horse too. I think this horse will sell out quick once you see him under video. Green Glitter, again, that question mark green shoe. Don't know what's going to happen with her. Her pedigree was nice, but her price was awesome. And when I saw how good she looked in person, and then looked at her video again, and then looked at her in person again, I just said to Amy, geez, if we're going to pick up a really reasonably priced Pennsylvania trotting filly, I think this is the one. And you never really know. There was horses we thought would bring 25 or 30 and brought 130 or more. And then there were other horses like Southwind Ibex, I really thought he would bring 70 or 80, but we ended up getting him for 54. So you really have to be there in the sale at the time and understand what is going on. And that's not always easy to do. It's something that we always continue to try and refine. And it doesn't mean that this system is right, but it's the one that we're the most comfortable with. So really happy with Green Glitter. And then Cadu, he'll sell out. There's 13 shares, and he's the cutest horse. He's small, tiny little bugger, but he's bred well and just looks nice. His video was probably one of the top 3 or 4 videos I looked at all year in all the sales. was his video. He is a small horse, but he's got a really, really nice way of moving, and it translates well to the track also. What I saw in the video, I definitely see on the track when I see him jogging all the time. And Captain Incredible, I know this guy's expensive horse, the most expensive horse we've ever bought. But just when you see him, you're going to see why. You just don't get a chance to buy Captain Treacherouses like that. And to head the dam a little soft, this is the first colt, I believe, from the mare. First two were so, just kind of present. One of them didn't race, I don't believe yet. But the second dam has dropped the ball. All that pedigree is down in the bottom. Second and third dam. But it is really tough to get by him himself. He's just such a gorgeous animal. And he looks like a horse. When you say, how should a really nice horse look? You could line up 20, 50, 100 horses, and I guarantee you're going to be drawn to this guy. He is gorgeous, and I get it. He's an expensive purchase. It'll take some time to completely sell him out, but we'll get there. And then Woodmere Betcha. Somebody messaged me yesterday, said, I bought all the shares left on her. I said, yeah, maybe not. I know that I did hold some shares back for people that said, Anthony, could you wait? I think I want to buy some shares in this filly, but there's other horses that I'm putting my money into, and I'm trying to budget the best I can. I get that every year with a number of horses, and this was one of them. So there was some shares left. I think there was like 16 or something. 9 of them are up for sale right now because I haven't heard back from the other people that were interested in keeping those shares. Now I can only wait so long. I have sent emails out to them, and if they decline, you'll probably see all of the shares end up on there. But I suspect at least 1 or 2 of those people will in fact keep them. So for now, 9 shares of Woodmere Betcha. This is the 3/4 sister to Woodmere Steel Deal. It took a mark of 48 and raced great in Ontario after destroying everybody in the Maritimes for 2 years. So if you're in the Maritimes, even if you're not in the Maritimes, if you're in horse racing, but definitely if you're in the Maritimes, we got a really, really nice looking filly here that I think everybody would be interested in. Memento Mori, this is Kierkegaard's brother. He may sell out before the end of the day. There's only 4 shares left in him. And then Freedom Hill, I don't know how we have 1 share. How do you have 1 share left of her? That's weird. Beautiful filly. This is the What the Hill filly. Trots really nice. Another one, she's got 1 share left. So it's not going to take long to sell these guys out. Really happy with the way the sale season has gone. Now for me, having the dialogue with our clients about what has gone on, and then switching gears to move into the future with Harrisburg. That is always going to be, as I said, that shopping cart sale where we're probably on the lookout for some PA bred trotting fillies, trotting colts, maybe 1 PA pacing filly. We're full up in Ohio. I know that right now. And I like the program that Kentucky has. Are we going to be able to find a chimpanzee colt? I don't know if there's any Goo Goo Gaga colts in here. Just, I don't know, bear with me for 1 second here. Close. I want to clear, choose sire. Is there any Goo Goo Gagas in here? Yes, there is. There is Goo Goo Gagas. Search. There's only 2. Ready Freddy. Oh, that one's going to go for lots. Day 1 and the last day. Quite a difference. And then the other one was Goo Goo Gaga, chimpanzee, and who's the other one? I wonder how many chimpanzees are in here now that I say it. Well, there's only 7. 7 chimpanzees, and 4 of them are day 1. 5 of them are day 1. The other ones are day 2 or 3. Maybe pick up a chimpanzee colt or a Goo Goo Gaga. Who's the third one? What the hell is wrong with me? It'll come to me. Anyway, that program's a little interesting also. We already have 2 trotting fillies, and we have a number of horses that are somewhere PA and Kentucky, Ontario, Kentucky, New Jersey, Kentucky, but those horses aren't eligible to that incentive program that they have put together in Kentucky. So we are looking for maybe a trotting colt, which is Kentucky eligible, and only, actually. A Kentucky trotting colt maybe. So a number of horses that we're looking for that Ontario also, 1 more trotting filly would fit in if we bought one. And we don't have a pacing filly for Ontario as of yet, I don't believe. Or no, a pacing colt, I'm sorry. So those are the things that we're after. Obviously, I'm focusing on the sale coming. I'm focusing on what's coming up. It's not oblivious to me that Arson and Memory and Imagination have their staking finals in Corbin next week. I'll be there. I'm not in Corbin today. Andy Miller is going to drive Arson. He's already won with him once this year. Memory and Imaginations his class did not go tomorrow. That played a role in me not going there today. That and my car being in the shop now, getting looked at. So that's what is going on right now at the stable. Staking wise, all we have left is a few little things in Indiana, the Pegasus and the Carl Erskine, and the Circuit City was the other day. There's one other one, I forget what it is. The Crossroads of America for Tactical Mounts. It was incredible last week, by the way. And then a couple of the Kentucky things, and then that's it, right? And then we start focusing on our overnight horses. You've seen us start to move some out. We're going to move a number of other horses out and bring in some fresh faces as we get into whether it be the Harrisburg mixed sale or On Gate. There were some horses I bid on Gate last week. Number of people asking us about the preferred sale on Monday. Wasn't a ton that I saw that I really thought was that interesting in the preferred sale Monday, but I'll go back and look through that again. So as we get into the fall, some of those horses that have saturated their classes or their money for us in Ohio and Pennsylvania, we'll move those horses out and bring in, as I said, some new faces. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. That was your opening for the day. I wish we had more racing to talk about. As I said, I was very, very happy with the way that the horses have been racing in general. A lot of seconds and thirds this week, but we did have some winners. Tactical Mounts obviously leading the way with a huge victory in the Circle City in Indiana. So hope we can keep things going to end up Indiana, and I hope we have our horses racing well this week. Finish off our staking in Kentucky, and then on to Harrisburg. So with that, I'll talk to you, and thank you all for the feedback on Harrisburg and the buckets. The resounding message I got from everybody, now forgive me if I'm wrong, the resounding message I got from 4, 5, 6 people was, rather than having one big bucket, why don't you just have a number of affordable buckets? So 4 or 5 buckets, and then put the horses in, and people can sell one share off if they want it, or buy another one in. And if that is what people want, then that's an easy fix. I can do that. I would like to get the yearling hub back up and going so that we can look at allowing people to say, hey, Anthony, I have this amount of money to put in, or I'm interested in potentially this type of horse or that type of horse. So open up that dialogue platform, and then obviously start planning for Harrisburg 2023. So with that, I'll let you go. I'll talk to you all very soon. I hope you had a wonderful week. It is gloomy here. I hope it's sunny wherever you are. Take care.